Welcome to the Coast to Coast podcast, brought to you by Play Picks and the Lines. Coming to you from the West Coast, Josh Lander, joined by my guy Nate Weitzer on the East Coast. We're looking at our favorite video of each and every weekday, the player props video, starting off the week hot 7 and 2, continuing this blazing stretch, looking to keep it up today with some pretty good ones for you. Nate does have his great article up on playpicks.com as well with some best bets and player props in there for you as well. And make sure to like and subscribe to that page and check out the other couple of game videos we have for you on a pretty fun Wednesday night slate. And as always, if you do still need a FanDuel or a DraftKings account, head to fdpicks.com or dkpicks.com and find those listings in your area, such as what we've got for tonight's play of props. Nate, let's get into it.
Yeah, a game I talk about in that article is the Cavs covering a small spread in Houston. But now that spread is creeping up too far. Maybe Houston will be able to break that 11-game losing streak at home. But regardless, if you just want to have a little fun with this game, I would bet on Kevin Porter Jr. showing out against the team that traded for him on draft night. He never got to play for the Cavs because in January 21, when they got Taurean Prince in that 3-team deal involving James Harden, Porter Jr. apparently threw an outburst in the locker room and was traded to Houston. So needless to say, he has no love lost for these Cavaliers, and they're a good defensive team, but they're going to be without Darius Garland tonight. Lauri Markkanen's still out, and Porter Jr. has been getting his even against with two matchups against the Warriors recently. He's gone over this total of 22.5 combined points and assists in 6 straight outings. The Warriors are top 3 in terms of assists per game allowed, and he had 11 dimes in his last game against them. Also love to see the spunk from the young boy. Talking trash to Steph Curry definitely indicates that he's ready to come out and try to stick it to this franchise. It's just the totals are not that high to be worried about him coming up short, even if he's going to be inefficient to a degree. I think 22.5 points assists, which is nearly even money at DK, is great. I would also look at the 25 points, rebounds, assists, where you can get it at better odds because he's only averaging 2.4 point rebounds along with these 17.5 points and 8.5 assists over his last 5. But the Cavs, their offense has tanked recently, and it's going to tank without Darius Garland now. They have no real playmaking guard, so that they're allowing 54 rebounds per game and shooting 45% over their last 3. So I expect more available rebounds to help him get over that bulk total. But yeah, just the points and assists, because he is the playmaker for Houston, and they like to play fast, and they don't care if they give up points as long as their young guards are getting theirs.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's all they're young. It's all about development for them right now. And Kevin Porter Jr. is someone who they're going to need to be, they're going to need to turn into an all-star if everything that they did after the James Harden trade is going to be worth it. I mean, he didn't do exactly great after he started talking trash to Steph, as Steph scored 21 in the fourth, and KPJ then went 1 for 3 from the field for 3 points. So either way, I think we know what we're getting from this guy. It's going to be spunk and attitude. And against a Cavs team that, he's going to definitely be motivated against tonight. Yeah, I feel good about him, especially with his recent trend in those last 5, as you mentioned. We're going back to the well here for this Memphis team against the Knicks tonight. Desmond Bane, we told you to take his points last time, which is 17.5. It's now 18.5, minus 115 on your money there if you bet that at DraftKings. You could also go for the PRA. He had a bunch of boards last game that got you. I mean, the points got you over his points, rebounds, and assists last game. It was 23.5, minus 102 on FanDuel. I am expecting a bit more points tonight against a Knicks team that has been actually going over a ton lately, and have been giving up the 3rd highest percentage of points off of 3-pointers to their opponents when they're playing at home, allowing their opponents to shoot 38%. We know Desmond Bane, what he does from deep. We mentioned it last time, and we'll stick to it. I mean, as a road warrior here, Bane has better splits on the road for sure, averaging about 22 a game with 5 boards, 50% from 3 on the road. That's in every road game, which is incredible. With an individual 129 individual offensive rating. We mentioned that career high he's coming off of with 5 made threes against Philly. As we mentioned, New York even worse than Philly in terms of defending the 3. So I think this is a guy who's shown out. You mentioned, and the last time we talked about him, that their wins, Memphis's, are directly tied to his performances in a lot of big key scenarios. Playing at Madison Square Garden is always a big key scenario. So 18.5 points, I'm not worried about. I also really like the points, rebounds, and assists at 23.5, because I think you're looking at 5 boards a game for this guy anyway. If you think he's going to get to that point total, he's going to get over the PRA, and that's sitting at minus 102. So basically even money for the PRA, and I think that's the best bang for your buck for tonight on a guy that could probably get 24 points alone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, my bad. That's 23.5 points, rebounds, but the assists are only 1 or 2 higher because he has not been handing out a lot of dimes.
That's true.
He is a shoot first and ask questions later member of this team, and he is basically their only reliable threat from 3-point range, which is why it's so key to get him going against the Knicks team you mentioned. They allow the third highest percentage of points off triples at home because they pack the paint, because they make you try to beat them. And people have been flying out trying to close out on Desmond Bane, and he has the most incredible ability to pump fake and adjust himself and get off an on-balance shot, probably because he's built as hell in the shoulders, and it's just like flicking the wrist for him to shoot from 3. He actually shoots a higher percentage from 3 than 2 recently because, it's just in his wheelhouse right now. So love him to get those points and hit a few key triples tonight. CJ McCollum will look to lead the Blazers at the Lakers tonight. And while the Lakers have been a little bit better defensively lately, it's mostly down low with Anthony Davis back in there. AD is not going to be out there dealing with CJ, and LeBron James is out tonight or doubtful with a knee injury. That puts Malik Monk into the starting lineup, and he's a much easier guy to score on if you wind up on him on the perimeter. In any case, CJ's been ramping up. He missed a lot of time with that punctured lung, but his last 5 averaging 22.2 points and 5.2 assists. The usage rate has not jumped as much as you would like, 25%, but in his last 6 road games, it's 28%, where he averages a little bit more, 23.8 points per game. And then you just look at his numbers in his career without Damian Lillard, averages 26 points and 6 assists on a 32% usage rate. So it's really only a matter of time before he starts cooking. The Blazers are dealing with a laundry list of injuries at the forward spot too, so it's not like they have a lot of guys to take touches away from CJ. He has had some poor shooting splits in his last 3 against the Lakers, but still handed out 20 dimes. So if you want to go 26.5 points assists, that's about the same odds as taking him to get 21.5 points. There's a chance he gets 6 or 7 dimes without getting over that 21-point mark. But I think he will score tonight, probably closer to 25 points. The Lakers are still 23rd in defensive efficiency since getting AD back. They're not stopping anybody, and CJ's been carrying his team on the road lately.
He has. I would also mention Anthony Simons. I think both these guys are still getting a ton of value as well. You mentioned, CJ finally, in his last 5 getting above that 22 a game mark, which would, easily, feel good about tonight with his 21.5 points. Simons sits at 19.5 points. Both these guys have been sitting right around these numbers in their props for the last 4, 5, 6 games. Both of them averaging plenty, to really warrant you feeling good about both of them. Anthony Simons averaging about 21 a game with 6 assists in his last 10 overall. Both these guys have played. That's the key thing. Both of them have played at least 9 games of their last 10, and they're definitely, both rounding into form as sort of that newish duo backcourt. Obviously, Anthony Simons a huge downgrade from Dame Lillard, but still, this could potentially be their future backcourt, at least with Simons in there. So I feel good about both of them. Is my point. That's where they're generating majority of their points, and so both of their point props still getting a ton of value. 21.5 for CJ and 19.5 for Simons there. So I'm going to go with an under with a guy whose name I'm going to mention, and then everyone's going to get terrified that I'm taking an under for Luka Doncic because he's just a stat filler. We know how slow and choppy and really unfun, let's say, to watch the Mavs offense can be unless Luka's just doing his thing, and he's been doing his thing. But his point, rebounds, and assist prop is ridiculous right now. It's at 48.5 against an Oklahoma City Thunder team who's very bad, not as bad at defense nearly as they are at offense, where they're just horrible, which is why my first thought here is, okay, well, even if I didn't know all these stats that I'm about to share with you about Luka not having success against the Thunder lately or in his career, just the fact that there's that blowout factor. The last two times that the Mavs have played the Thunder with Luka, they're winning by an average of 14 points a game in that time. And in the last three that Luka's played versus OKC, he's averaging 19 points, 10 boards, and 7 assists, shooting 29% from the field and 27% from three. That's just in his last three versus them. You look at his 8 games in his career versus them, he's only averaging 23 points, 7 boards, 7 assists, shooting 43 from the field, 31 from three. So none of that gets you close to 49 points, rebounds, and assists, which you would need for the over here. At home, he averages about 44 points, rebounds, and assists combined. And 9 of the last 10 games for the Mavs have gone under. So they don't score a lot. Luka can get his and they can still win just fine. But I don't see the need for him to play a ton in the fourth quarter. If this game's already at 10 to 15 points, let's say halfway through that time frame, I think they put this one away. Luka doesn't have time to even get close to that. Plus, it's not something he's done ever really against the Thunder in terms of getting 49 points, rebounds, and assists combined.
Yeah, in fact, his last time against the Thunder, he had a triple-double with 20, 11, and 12, and that still gets you well below 48.5. I would expect a lot of missed shots, a lot of slow-pace play in this game. It has a total of 206. The Thunder are actually second in defensive efficiency over their last 3 and allowing the 4th fewest points per game. They allowed just 18 assists to Portland their last time out. So even with Luka's absurd assist rate, when he's out there, he gets nearly half his team's dimes, but that still might not be enough for you to pile up all those stats. And I don't know if he's going to get a 30 burger here. He certainly could take a seat early if the Mavs cover this 12-point spread.
Totally. I mean, if he gets a 30 burger, we're talking about 10 boards, 8 assists, or 9 assists, 19 boards and assists combined. All of it just feels very, very high for the amount of offense that's going to be scored. Even if he is assisting and scoring on, 70% of his team's points, I don't see them getting much higher than 105 to 110 at the max. So this is going to be a pretty ugly game. Not sure the Thunder will get 100 points, which the Mavs will probably keep them low as well. So yeah, all points lead to just don't take overs for most people in this game. And Luka's in that 49 PRA way too high. So that is all the time we have for you in this one. We will look to continue our hot streak as we sit 7-2 on the week with our player props. So make sure you are liked and subscribed to that page, and you check out the other couple videos we have for you on this fun slate tonight. And until we see you next, happy betting.